Umuntu methi hale sasitabane lesiyana. You know?
Is taban, is that the wrong word?
I would believe, you know,
Okay.
it is.
That's why
this
I
is
would
why
want to know,
I think
inkonkoni is
this is
taban.
why I really think it's important for people to even refrain from even using those terms. How about you use somebody's name?
Award-winning transgender activist, media personality, recipient of the Feather Awards, South Africa, Sowetan Women's Club Trendsetter Influencer of the Year, voted by Public and Fashion Industry Awards, Fashion Muse of the Year, reality TV star, businesswoman. She is here. And I'm very excited, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
Hello. Ngiyaphila unjani?
Nami ngiyaphila, finally. She's such a long resume. Actually,
Oh my gosh.
guys, ungkhathile uthe no, say it short because it's actually very long. It means they've been putting in work. And there's also different pronouns on one can now use when addressing people. And what are your pronouns?
My pronouns are she and her.
Oh, she and her.
Yes, and I appreciate that actually because I think, you know, people just butcher you based on what or how they've met you years ago or what they imagine you to be, and they just do that, and I think I appreciate that. Thank you.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu. And do you take offense if they do?
I think for me really it depends on how the person is approaching the whole thing, because khona umuntu ethi mawukhuluma naye ubona ukuthi lona is being malicious, and omunye ubona ukuthi no, it really is what's this, a mistake, you know. So if you are of course being malicious, of course I will address it with you to say I don't think we should do that. It's funny because I was just like, someone that you know, and I had said to them, I said, but I told you this is not how I want you to address me, and you're doing it again. And a part of me felt like they were doing it just to piss me off, or they just didn't care at the time, or they were panicking. So I gave them a moment to really see what their response is going to be. But after then, they said, okay, genuinely, they are sorry. They didn't mean to. I took their word to say, okay, fine. I think they were panicking based on what was recently happening at the time.
Do you feel good your life is a consistent journey of having to educate people on a daily basis?
Absolutely. Even if you don't want to, because the moment a lot of people knows of you, then people feel like they have access to you anywhere, anytime. And even when there's no need, sometimes, you know, somebody at Groove would bring up something that doesn't have anything to do with where you are, and now you have to correct a person. Somebody who knows you like when you were 12, you know, would come back and, yeah, no, I know you when you were a little boy, do you remember? And I'm just like, now I have to like correct you and say, actually no, this is not who am I or who I was. It just happens that in the society that we live in, I grew up knowing that this is a person that I am. So you have to constantly do it like every day, basically.
And do you consistently have to get into arguments, or do you ignore certain issues or certain conversations?
I don't get into arguments.
Okay.
I could never. I think I did that when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I think every time I'm growing up, I see that there's actually no need for me to argue with people. One thing I know is that I will just not give you access to my life, you know. So what you say, if I feel that I need to respond to you, I will give you my word, which will then be final. I'm not a person that is going to constantly then having to like go back and forth with you. What I'll tell you as a response is me responding to you, and it's final. If you don't get it, that is okay.
Let me ask you this question before we continue with the story. Do you think you've blocked over 100 people on your social media?
I've probably blocked only 2 people.
Serious?
I don't. So my mindset lives on. I like seeing people that look down on me seeing me thrive. I like seeing people that think I'm never going to be anything, that people that want to push me down, seeing me thrive, because mina ekugcineni, my dreams are known by me, and how I'm going to achieve them. It's all known by me. It's not known by the world. What you see of Yaya walking in the streets and putting in a plan for her to say this is who she's going to be, it's not what's going to happen. You know, even if you are an executive somewhere and wanting to block my shine, you won't do it because you don't know what I've planned for my life. You know, so I don't block people.
Nice. That's very interesting. Now you say your profile says you are a trans activist. What is a trans activist? And maybe take us through how your journey began.
It's so funny because how
And
this.
I don't
Yeah, no,
like
no, no.
cutting people. I
Yeah,
want
sure.
people to properly express themselves. And that's what
Yeah.
I love about podcasts. Good. Asike emsakazweni, asike advert.
I think my advert,
Isikhathi
yeah,
sikhona,
right,
yeah.
yeah, I think
Asicoce, sure.
so. I
Asithengise,
think it's so funny because I think how that came about, I was really genuinely living my life, you know, and me being a trans activist in actual fact came about when I won a feather, cause then I saw how people really saw me living my truth had an impact on many people. But mainly how I really came about was really when I discovered that I was trans. I saw a need that it was important for other trans people to find themselves. Cause I come from Emakaya, you know, like deep, deep, deep rural area of KwaZulu Natal, where I grew up without television, no newspapers. The only medium of news that we had was radio, and it was Ukos. So you can imagine there was nothing that says gay or trans.
And in the isiZulu culture, they're very strict
Do
as
you
well, ne?
understand?
With
So
the traditional
we
Zulu.
didn't know anything of that sort. And then
Yeah.
I thought about how many other trans people come from that situation who don't know that this is who they are. And they think because they come from it's either poverty, they come from where there is nothing, they can't be. So I really saw the need that I needed to be out there for them to know that there is someone like them, and that someone like them happens to be me. And that's when my trans activism came from, which is then trans visibility. I'm not one that will speak on many other issues that organizations will speak to. Of course, as I grow as a public figure, I need to then learn about a lot of other things, because it would be awkward of me when I'm being asked of questions then I don't know. But mainly, I speak of visibility as a trans person. That's my trans activism.
I like that. And tell me about your upbringing. And I like the fact that you're from a KZN. And I know KZN people are very strict
Yeah,
with
no,
their
they
with their
are.
culture.
I'm strict too.
Yeah.
I'm strict
Ngoba
too.
vele umZulu.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I think I'm strict with myself. I'm strict with my life. I'm strict with how people really speak to me, how people receive me. I won't let people tell me this is who you should be. Even at home, they can't come and say you can't be, because it's my life, it's not theirs. As much as I respect them, I respect my family so much. We have like really, really such a strong respect for each other. But I always say it's important for them to know boundaries. It's important for them to know that this is Yaya, ingani yethu le, you know. She can't then live based on how we think she should. Because I did that when I was younger. I feel like I fulfilled everything that they needed. Thank you, thank you. They needed of me to do. So I can't go back then now as an adult and do the same thing. So I grew up with my grandmother, whom I thought was my mom. I thought was my mom because unfortunately, I grew up without my mother. Apparently, my mother left when I was 2 months. So I went to a school in literally I had to walk like an hour to get to school. Um, it was like really a difficult phase when I look at it back now to say, yo, I can't believe I had to wake up at 4, go basumlilo, gigeze, and for me to leave home at 5:30, and still come back tired. We really didn't have much at home. Even though we're a big family, but we still didn't have much. So And then later on, then I discovered, okay, my mom had left. So I would see my father maybe like twice or three times a year because he was at Tegwin. So he'd come home only like once in a while. At 16, I left because I really felt so uncomfortable at the time. And I always say this is not to speak ill of my family, but I wasn't necessarily like the favorite child at home. I wasn't.
Ningaki again.
So my father has three kids. One was is went missing. Then there is my younger brother,
Okay.
and then of course my uncles have kids also.
Yeah.
So there was like a lot of kids at home.
Okay.
So I think because I'm such a forgiving person, even when I was younger, people that did me bad, I'd forgive them. I'd still let them in my life. I I knew that me staying there, I was going to be a hooligan. I was gonna end up being a bad child. It's either on drugs, but something was going to end up wrong because when you're getting older and you can see that no, this space doesn't favor me. A lot of people then tend to baphuze benze izinto wrong, and I could see that elokishini langasekhaya that it was starting to get like that with a lot of kids, and I didn't want to be part of that. But also I was not the same child as many other kids were. I was not like how ingane yakamakhelwane was. I was just like I was like different, very different. I liked what I liked alone. So I left and I lived in Durban. I lived in the streets, of course, because I didn't have anything. So I would
So
lie.
you left home to go live in the streets.
I had 60 rands when I left at home.
So it is the truth that a lot of the homeless kids, some of them it's voluntarily they left home
Yes.
to rather be in the streets.
So I'm never mad at when I see somebody in the street because remember I reflect to how I left home. It's not like I volunteered because it was nice, everything. I had everything. I didn't really have everything.
And the treatment you were getting at home
the treatment I
also.
was getting at home, it was not good.
Mm.
So I left, but I knew that that's not where I wanted to end up. So I would lie to the people that abadayisayo eThekwini khona ebridging laphana emakethi abantu abadayisayo khona that sleeps there. I would lie and say I missed my train every day, and then until they realize that no man, we've seen this person. So
Yeah, ngiyabazi. Sometimes unokuhlangana nomuntu omola acela ngokuthi acela ngelona ukuthi ulahle iphese yakhe or something ngathi
but
uphanda
like,
kanjalo ukwenza imali sure.
So but I wasn't asking for money because so what I'll do is every morning after I slept whoever that I slept at, I would then go and sell at training. Get some stick sweeting, what's this stationery. I'd wake up, make sure that's when kids get to school in the morning. Like I would go to like what's this multiracial schools and be at the gate and sell like things there. And then it came to a point where now I really didn't have Indao at all. So I'd just like sometimes be in a club, chill until they close, and then walk around. Then the train starts operating. Then I get into a train. I start, selling until I made money to be able to pay rent. Mjondolo. Then ngahlala Mjondolo. Then I reconnected with my uncle, who then at the time was staying with his partner. And then when they discovered about my sexual identity at the time, they weren't comfortable with it, because then they asked me to stay with them. Then they asked me to move out, and I swear to God, I thought I was going back to the street. I just then started school, because funny, I did my grade 11 in August, because from January when I'd left school, I wasn't sorry when I'd left home, I wasn't going to school. I was just like trying to like get money until July. Then August I started school, grade 11, and then I was of course kicked out. Then I stayed with my friend. My friend took me in, Maxwell Omar. that's I always say, I'll forever be grateful to that person because really changed my life in many ways. Sahlala naye. Fast forward, then I found a job. Then I became really independent. Then I reconnected with my family again, like back home now. And I told them exactly, the reasons why I had left, and we loved each other again. We forgave each other, and they were happy to see me again. And again, when I moved to Joburg, I found myself in like deep, deep situations where I went back to the streets again.
When did you move to Joburg?
2013.
2013. That's exactly 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Why did you come to Joburg? For greener pastures, of course. Career?
Actually, I moved into Joburg 2012. Yeah, 2012.
Okay.
So no. So I come to Joburg for Joburg Pride. And I decided there and there that I'm not going back home. I'm not going back. I'm not going back to Durban.
Yeah.
Because for me, really, I think I've always known that there was something about me, even though that I didn't have. Because you remember, I grew up without a reference of this is someone that I'm seeing next door. This is something that I'm seeing on TV. There was really nothing besides what being a doctor, being a teacher. That's the only things that I knew. So that you could do anything out of that space was not even, a thought. And then I lived at a friend's place until nakhona futhi ngaxoshwa.
This is good. Ufikela kuphi?
In
Maboneng?
Randburg.
Oh,
In
Randburg.
Randburg,
Okay.
yeah. Ngaxoshwa.
Uxoshelani manje?
I think really some of the things when they really follow you.
Yeah.
Because even now, when we reflect about it, there was really nothing that I would say I'd done wrong. So I found myself back in the streets, but it wasn't also for long. And I recently spoke to somebody that knew that I was actually in the streets. I was actually shocked that he knew and he didn't see the need to help me. Because he had the means to help me, but he didn't. But I forgave it. I was like, okay, I think that's just people, They would do that. They would say I love you, but not really because they love you. They are thinking it back in their minds, you're not gonna make it. So I think the person happened to tell me because they were just shocked of how much I've done. Even though I don't see the hype that they are talking about, they were just like, yo, yeah, I remember when you were stranded. I'm like, stranded? Because I didn't know that they knew. So they spoke about it. But I was like, yeah, those such things, they teach you about life. They teach you to be grounded. They teach you to be a better person. And yeah, so I think then fast forward, I found myself, working in PR and the spaces that I found myself into. Then I think my dreams then started really then growing to say, I can do more, I can do more, I can do more.
What was your first big break?
Where exactly?
What would you say? This was an opportunity that started getting me out there when I started getting paid for things. People started paying me to come to places.
I think for me, blogging at the time helped me because then it exposed me to a lot of new industry that I didn't think existed. I would just write articles. I used to write a lot. And then I was discovered by a lot of people. That's how even my publicity, my publicist journey started, because then, a lot of people then knew of my blog. Then they would invite me to events. Then I would meet people that, had interest of working with me.
What is your blog called?
YAYA. It's yayarsa.blogspot.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes. So, then, since then, a lot of things changed. And then I started getting a lot of other opportunities besides of blogging. With PR, I started working even with people that I never even thought, I would even sit with, Then a lot of things then changed. Then 2021, then even bigger things then happened. I remember when I got a call from Umambas telling me about the show that they were doing, Becoming, and if I would be interested to be part of that. Of course, at first, I mean, there was that to say, sure, okay, because there was a show that I was supposed to do, and it ended up being, of course, canned because people will always complain about you, so somebody felt that I wasn't a good representation for the trans community, so they wrote to that particular channel to say we can't have Yaya doing that. And but a part of me says I'm glad that that's happened, and I'm still okay, because then it teaches them that they can't really cancel me. You can't take away what meant for me. you know you really can't, because you don't know my plans, and I had other plans that I made sure that, what, even that show doesn't happen, I'll do other things. Then becoming happened, but I think when becoming happened, I knew that even if becoming doesn't succeed, I will succeed. If becoming succeed, we'll succeed together. And I really then started having a plan to say I need to have like really, really strong PR around it, so that I'm not just Yaya from becoming, but I'm Yaya who's doing so many other things outside of becoming. And I'm glad that, my mind works over time. I I don't think I think like a normal child, because some of the things that I think of sometimes, like, sorry, sometimes they shock me to say, oh my gosh, I can't believe, can I do that, you know and every time I travel, I make sure that I have contact anywhere in the world, because I don't know, I'm a kind of a person that I can actually wake up on Monday, and go live in Paris and go live in New York, because I'm not scared of like new chapters. So yeah, that's me.
Jeez, I love your attitude. Like you're very brave.
Very. And I'm not brave because of my gender identity, because people always say I'm brave because, oh my gosh, you are so brave. No, I'm not brave because of that. I think my thinking is braveness. My existence is braveness. It's not Yaya being trans that is brave. It's Yaya the thinker. It's Yaya the go-getter. It's Yaya who's fearless. It's Yaya who's undefeated that is brave.
Is the LGBTQI community united?
I'm united, so I wouldn't necessarily say the whole community, because I don't know each and everybody. It's just like the whole heterosexual community, or the Indian, what's this community, white people. We can't say white people are united because we really don't know everything that they go through. There are other white people that complain about the other ones. What we see of face value. So we can't necessarily say just because I received hate from 10 queer people, then queer people are hateful. Because there are those that are really, really nice. So I'm always against an idea of saying just because a group of certain people said something, then everybody else within that group is that. So unity is me. I'm united, then I look at where I am as unity.
And then how do you find yourself in your life having to educate people in the LGBTQI community? And this is ordinary people abasekasi. Baba nje or noma mhlambe nje umama nje umdala umuntu ohambela nje elokishini. Where you have to educate ukuthi no, trans and gay, we belong to the community, but
I'm not following.
okay,
exactly.
before the interview started, we were talking about I think I'll take it there later. We were talking about a list that you're saying to you are a part of, and sometimes
Oh yeah.
you you're considerate to let things happen the way they're supposed to happen instead of you skipping the list.
Yeah.
Maybe number one, maybe to clarify for the people, what list is that? Number two, and then number three, so that younger people understand. Would other people go for an operation? Other people don't go for an operation.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
what's
yeah.
the
Okay, so I
difference?
get you. So I mean, of course, as a trans person, there is a trans person who merely just does not want to transition medically. For them, how they are or who they are is really enough. What's the surgery or medical does not really define their transness, and it shouldn't. It should be like that, because there are many other ones that really don't even afford or have that opportunity to say I'm going to be able to get access to hormones. So I can't say then that person is transless. because they don't have access to hormones or they haven't been able to take hormones. And then, of course, then there are those that want to say to have surgery, even post what's this hormones. There are those that don't want to do surgery even when they have hormones. Then there are those that would have surgery and they don't want anyone to know that they are even trans. They transition heterosexually. They would move into a different space where nobody knows that this is who they are, because they really want to be seen as heterosexual. But I think also, this is my thinking. Most of them get into that culture because how society has really treated trans people, how society really has felt the need to have a voice or to have an authority over trans people, to say, yes, you can do this, yes, you can't do this, yes, you can work here, yes, you can date Sbu, yes, you can't. And if you date Sbu as a trans person, then Sbu is gay. And it's never the case. So a lot of trans people suffer from that. That's even when they get into relationships, it has to be between the person, the two, because the moment everybody knows, then unfortunately the guy is going to face backlash, is going to face discrimination from society, because society have really had authority in their minds to say, we will define you, we will say this is what you deserve, this, we have to approve. And it's so unfortunate.
And what do hormones? Is it hormones? What do they do?
So of course, I mean, they develop a lot of things in your body. Your voice, of course, changes a bit. For some, drastically. Your body structure changes. It really redefine you. But with some people, really, it just remains the same. So with me, I've even when I take hormones, I won't take them for that, because I'm not keen on really passing. A lot of people already know that I'm a trans woman. I'm not trying to disguise. I'm not saying people that are passing are disguising.
Yeah.
I'm not trying for people to see me as someone else.
Yes.
If you know I'm trans, you know I'm trans. So I think it helps with a lot of people to pass to community. Well, when I speak of passing, it's when somebody really sees you as a heterosexual person, doesn't see anything, because really, I think people generally, when they look at you, already have that to say, okay, I know that based on how we know of a guy to be, you'd have such a body structure that's, gives away to say you are trans. So a lot of people then doesn't want that. And I'm okay if you can tell that, this person is. It doesn't really bother me.
Okay, so hormones make you more feminine.
Yes.
So they also change your voice and even your appearance
yes,
as
your
well.
appearance, yes,
Even
absolutely.
your feelings.
Not feelings, because I mean, I don't think hormones would change your feelings, because
Okay.
what you feel is what you'd feel. It's what you've always felt.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that I think most people will become happier to say, okay, my appearance has now changed. People see me differently.
Oh, no, I understand now. Now, this is also what I'm trying to understand. So you can take hormones without having to go for an operation.
Yeah, of course.
And then there's also an operation
That you can opt to do.
now. Okay, and the operation has to do with the sex change.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah.
Okay, and tell me more, because
So-
our platform, by the way, is educational.
Yeah, no, of
So
course,
this
of
is
course.
in the purposes of education.
Yeah, of
sure.
course. I mean, a lot of people, I think there is so much that post-surgery would do for you as a trans person, because you don't have to worry about disclosing to anyone now when you meet somebody to say, I'm trans. If you don't want to, you don't want to, because it means that, especially for those that want to transition to be heterosexual,
Yes.
it means that you could meet anyone and you don't have to disclose if you don't want to. Whereas if you're going to be sexual with a person, you have to disclose, because you don't want a case where now a person says, but I thought, and then you get yourself into danger.
Yeah, because I've heard of such cases also out there on social media
Yeah.
where people they probably don't disclose and then afterwards other people feel like they were done under, like why didn't you tell me type of thing.
But I always, for me, that's also the other thing that I'm speaking of when heterosexual people feel like they have authority over our lives. Because why am I disclosing exactly? You know, what is it that you want me to disclose for? I think we need to begin there. Because it's different if um, we have a plan of getting into sex with you and we met in a space where you wouldn't have even imagined that there's a trans person. I can't meet a man at at a gay club, for instance, and then I have to disclose because in my mind already I'm thinking this guy is assuming that I'm, or if he's there, he's probably that's understanding. Why am I being put in a space where now I have to go around and say, hey, I'm trans, hey, I'm trans, hey, I'm trans, you know? I think as much as sometimes I understand to say, okay, you need to disclose, but there need to be a conversation that leads to me disclosing. I hope this is clear.
I
There
understand.
need to be a conversation that leads me to disclosing. I can't just I'm meeting you and you have an interest in me. We are having a chat, and then out of nowhere, and then I'm saying, by the way, I'm trans. And I find that a lot of guys get mad when there wasn't even a conversation that leads to that. As much as it's awkward for you that you are now discovering like that I'm trans, it's awkward for me to just out of nowhere say to you, I'm trans. You know, we can't treat it in a way where it's always about you as a heterosexual person who is done dirty. How about me also, who didn't get an opportunity to get a conversation that leads us to me disclosing, you know? Because I just feel like a lot of trans people are compromised and of course they're going to be misjudged to say, "Hayi ngabe ushilo, befihleleni." It's not like you are hiding because ekugcineni umuntu uzogcina etholile. You're not hiding it forever, you know? So it's tricky.
And tell me about the operation. Is it expensive or have they started having them here in South Africa as well?
Of course, they are.
Okay.
They are. I have a lot of people that I know that have done operations like through government, and through organizations that helps trans people. But of course, it's expensive. You know, it's a lot of money. An average trans person can't afford to just go and pay 200K. You
Yeah.
know,
200
no,
blocks.
if you're gonna, of course, I mean, do it abroad. This is like all including traveling cost and or I mean, I remember a trans man paid about what 80K plus for their top surgery. That is a lot of money for an average somebody, you know. For a girl like me, back then I would want to take that 80K and go buy a bag, you know.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but now I of course would want to take that money and do an operation when I need to, when I feel like okay, I want to do it. And of course, I mean, I've had offers, a lot of offers where organizations would come forward, people would come forward to say, let's help you to get into, get surgery. But for me, just like I mentioned earlier, I just feel like it's a disadvantage for many other people that are on the waiting list. That's Yaya now because she's a public figure or she's in the forefront of trans activism. Then she should be used as a PR stunt, and then other people are still on the waiting list. It's a great privilege, but at the same time, if you're going to speak of issues that affect everybody else, I can't be the one toying saying we deserve equal opportunities, but at the same time, I feel like Mina, I must always, skip other things that would benefit me only, not everybody else. Unless if they say, listen, Yaya, we're going to take you and other 5 people or other 10 people, then that's okay. But I can't stand, being in the front alone and then the other 10 people are still going to wait for 6 months or a year. Then that is unfair.
But do you want to do the op?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's not like I'm crazy about it. I'll you know, I'm, I'm okay. I'll do it when I can.
I get you.
Yeah.
And how do you feel you're gonna be like after the op to the current Yaya?
What do you mean?
Like, do you really have to do it?
That's what I'm saying. Good. I'm not like moved to say, oh my gosh, I have to do it. I'll do it. You know.
Yeah,
I'll do it when I can.
I get
I
you.
know, of course, I'll have even more privilege when I've done it, because the idea of disclosing sometimes, it's just like, when I meet my European man, I won't have to, which of course, I mean, currently, a lot of then men from that space don't have an issue with you being trans
Okay.
and openly dating you when everybody knows that I'm dating a trans person.
Yeah.
They really don't. I think we only face that here in South Africa because South Africans are very judgmental, especially that we live in an era where social media is like so big, and everybody on social media feels like they should have an opinion over people's lives, and they know, because everybody's opinion on Twitter or wherever and Facebook, for them, what they say is gospel truth.
Yeah, yeah.
It
yeah.
doesn't matter what really is the truth. It's what they say that is gospel truth. And that has really, really damaged a lot of things.
Yo, South Africa, guys, and it's not easy, man, to deal with this social media thing. I think we are all just evolving. We are getting by and taking each and every day as it goes.
We are danger to ourselves, though.
Because I've also seen a lot of toxicity. There's a lot of toxic people, especially on Twitter.
That is such a horrible platform. But I always say,
Elon Musk.
if you're going to say yes, let the platform be horrible, it's going to be horrible. For me, a lot of people say like horrible things about me, but I never entertain it because, like I said earlier, I won't give you access to my life. Whatever that you say, it ends there. If I feel that I need to like then respond and rectify, I will, and my word is final. And that's that.
And how's your dating life been? Do you date in the industry?
Oh
Nang
my
it's in the industry, I'm
gosh,
talking about the
yeah.
entertainment industry.
I dated once and it was like so bad
Yeah.
because
Were they famous?
yeah, of course,
Yeah.
and the person was very abusive, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
and they knew that I was never going to be able to speak up, because if I did, nobody was going to believe me because they were more famous. And at the time,
Also, they were hiding it,
yeah,
that they were
yeah,
dating.
of course, yes, of course. I mean, there was no way would be out about it.
Okay.
But I'm glad that I went through that, and now I know that um, if that happens again, I won't even give it a second, chance.
Yeah.
I will leave. And in dating generally, I find it like so hard because then I get a lot of like guys that would say, "No, I love you like genuinely, and I want to like love you openly," but it's mostly people that would are trying to do something with their lives.
Oh, bazama ukukuuza
So I
as a
don't
kama.
know. So I don't know if that's the
Yeah.
case. I don't know if that's the case. I mean, this one guy really asked me, if are you going to hide me in the industry that you are dating, in the media that you are dating me. I'm like, yeah, but you're not even dating yet. We are in speaking terms. What are you talking about?
Ufuna ukuthi angithi upgrade.
But then the guys that you really then I think speaks to you, that you're like, okay, this is the kind of guy that I really want to date, would be the one that is really not sure if they want anyone to know. And I think my problem is I'm okay with not anyone knowing. I think the only problem starting when you tell me keep this between the two of us, then there is a problem. I don't mind what's this? I don't mind no one knowing, but I think the moment you say then it's a problem for me.
I
Because
get
like,
you.
why are you telling me? I mean, adults enough to know that I need to keep my relationship private.
I get you.
You know, I mean, adults. And I always tell people when they say that, and I never continue with those relationships. When you are, because now I've learned that, you know what, there's danger when somebody tells you what to do and you say yes, because the next time they're going to request for something else and something else, and they end up really owning your voice. And I don't want that.
Also, that's why you're saying when you find your European man.
Of course. I mean, I mean,
Marmele ba bene nyoko ne. I just
ah, for me, really, I think
because amanye amacaca like
generally, I think I attract a lot of like,
ba macaca ngamagama nje.
I attract a lot of like the privileged other men. When I say that, like the white men that really are rich,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
that I've never dated one, because I've always have like, I'm always like two ways to say, why am I with, you know, because I don't want to speak English also every day, you know.
Yeah, man.
You know. But I'm learning. I mean, I'm learning, and maybe, you know, based on my past experiences, maybe that's where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So, but currently, are you in a relationship?
No.
So you are available right now.
Am I available? To speak, yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if, like, so many, I've learned now that speaking terms are so important. Because you learn a lot of things about somebody before dating. It's so bad to learn things about somebody when you're already in a relationship. And you like, shucks, how do I get out? So I'm not trying to now have a lot of people that I've dated. Well, I don't have currently. So I don't want to find myself focus, this is my ex, this is my ex. Whereas I could have just been in talking stages with people and see really how do I get to with this person, learn a person, even if the person is like famous, because just because you see somebody on TV or on social media, it doesn't mean that you know them.
Yeah.
The only time you're going to know a person is when you spend time with the person, how they speak to a waiter, how they speak to a security guard, how they speak to their helper, you know, on the phone, when they are mad, when they are happy. That's when you learn a person to say, oh, okay, fine. I know this is how the person is going to treat me if things were to go south.
How things were in the country about 10 years ago, let's say 2010, to how things are right now. Do you feel ukuthi the LGBTQI man, I don't want to say let me say the education. Do you think it's better now in society than it was a decade ago?
Absolutely, it's better. And people know, it's just that people choose to discriminate. It really is a choice. It's not people then, mina ngiyafunda. No. If you funda, then I don't think you can say we are funda, but you are hateful. You know? We are funda, distance yourself from a person. Miyekele aphila impilo yakhe. Why uthi uyafunda but you are hateful? So I can't take it from a homophobe or a transphobe. I'm learning, but they are being transphobic. No,
yes,
because
you're khona ukumbona umuntu ukuthi unenzondo.
You know, exactly.
Noma umuntu oza ngothando phakathi.
So we can't then say abantu but bayafunda, but they are being homophobic. It really is a choice of you hating somebody. It is a choice of you leaving a person alone. You know, it's always something that I say to people. I said, if you have issues, if you don't like me, you don't have to tell me. Leave me alone.
Yes.
Just like I would do the same with you. You know, if I'm not interested in you, I'll leave you alone. The only time I'll speak to you is because I want something from you. You know, I'm not going to out of my way and provoke you. And I find that a lot of LGBTI people bahlukunyezwa by the people who just want attention, who are hateful, not because they don't know. It's really people who are hateful.
How has fame been? Your star is rising.
First, I don't think like I'm like famous. I think I'm known. I think I'm appreciated. But if you're going to speak into what then society says, if you are like out there, you are famous, I think it's been really a journey for me because a a lot of people feel like, most of the time, a lot of people would feel like they deserve the opportunity more.
Serious?
Yes.
They feel like they're better than you.
Of
Or they're
course.
supposed to be even more famous
A
than you
lot
are.
of people feel like I should have been the one. You know, there are a lot of people who would ask me, how do I do 1, 2, 3, and 4? Not because they are appreciating what I do, because in their mind they think like they can do it better. It's like when somebody wants to, like I got a lot of people that would want to do becoming, you know. And I always say, unfortunately, you can't just wake up in the morning and think you're gonna do reality because you are fabulous. Unfortunately, South Africans or people generally want a story. They need to follow something. You can't just, cameras can't follow you dressing up, you know, having a drink and just chilling with Spoo. No, they need to be a story. And a lot of people fail to understand that even if you get into those platforms for the sake of getting there, you won't survive if there is nothing that you have
That you bring to the
that
table.
you are bringing to the table.
Yeah.
You know, you could have 1 million followers, but you won't have work as an influencer if really it's not for you. If it's something that you can't do. You can't have 1 million followers because you are pretty. Like a lot of people like desire to look at you like, oh my gosh, you know, I love her body. I love how she dresses and all of that. But if you're going to get a brand that approaches you to do something and you cannot execute, it's the first time and the last time you hear from them, and probably even that gig is not going to happen. You know, we need to learn that, you know what, you need to have first a background story. You need to also tell people what are you about. If you are getting into that space into an audition, why are you auditioning? You know, not because I want to be a television presenter. Everybody wants to be a television presenter that is in that space, but everybody else that is in there, they've got dreams. They've got plans of how they're going to make this a reality, a success. You know, so a lot of people think really when you are famous, it's just going to be fabulous. That's why you have a lot of famous people that are like stressed, no money. You know, now you've been on TV and you can't now go back and live where you were staying because now, yo, stress ukuthi ngizothi uma ngabe ngifika ekhaya eSoweto and now I'll send a mali to go pay where you want to stay because you didn't have a plan. You were just excited to say, you know, I'm on TV. I meet a lot of like people that have done TV that wish they introduced themselves differently, you know, because also as a trans person or a queer person, people at home like it's when you're going to make fun of yourself, a caricature, you know, and that doesn't last, unfortunately.
Gimmick.
You know, you can't be a gimmick and think you're going to have a longevity in the industry because big brands are not going to want to work with somebody who is a joke. You know, big brands want to work with somebody that's where anyone else that is going to buy into their brand looks at that person and say, okay, yeah, sure, I'm not shy or ashamed to be next to that person. It's so painful to be in a space and nobody, you know, even wants to sit next to you because of how you've portrayed yourself. And I try not to do that.
And now I want to know, how do you handle, like you were telling me off air that like lately you've been going through a process where your bag is getting compromised by some accusations that are out there about you.
Yeah. How do I?
How do you handle having to have accusations that are not proven correct, that are out there about you and they're disturbing your bag?
I think for me, it was the first time something of that nature happens like that, where work is taken away from me. Of course, I mean, it's painful because you need that money, even though there are other source of incomes that are not like affected like that. But nobody wants to wake up in the morning and brands that they like and admire and work with leave them. Dreams are cut. No, I wouldn't want to say short because maybe let's say are put on pause. But for me, I'm all about iqiniso
Yes.
because I know my truth, and the person that's accusing me knows the truth. I have proof, I mean, and I think, the unfortunate part about this, um, as much as I want the law take its course, but I don't have months and months of just waiting and hoping that, it's going to fall into place. Because impilo yami kufanele iqhubeke ekugcineni. And as much as also I know that nobody could ever take away what is meant for me, a lot of people, of course, see it as damaging. I don't see it as damaging like that. I see it as growth. It's something that is going to make me even stronger and a bigger brand, definitely. Then it's even helped me to think bigger, to say, okay, fine, yeah, we are here now. What can we do to elevate ourselves? What can we do to achieve more? What can we do to block the noise? And I know, because I think, the universe listens. God knows our heart. And God knows first that I didn't do it.
What were they accusing you of?
So, so crazy, because I'm thinking, wow. I mean, Yazini, if you look at me, do you really think I would force myself on a guy? Like anyone that is watching. I mean, so yeah, a lady.
So they opened the case.
No. So this is now the funny thing about this whole thing. And it's so sad, because I mean, the person that's a secondary person that is now gonna have to be involved in this is someone that is a former employee, unfortunately. A secondary voice, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, okay, at one
yeah.
of my business. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lady that I don't even recognize.
Is it Massive Metro?
Yes, Massive Metro. The person
Okay.
so but that's not the person that is making the accusations,
Oh,
just to make
okay,
it clear.
okay.
It's a secondary voice.
Yeah.
So years ago, I think 2019, we traveled to Limpopo and we went to a festival. So, and on the way, a person that's worked there really, really had an issue with me and kept being on my case. And we ended up having a fight. Like not physically, but
Okay. An argument.
An argument. I spoke back. I'm like, dude, you can't do that. It became like really, really ugly. So I had whatever situation that's, I had. It's so unfortunate that now I have to disclose my private life, but hey, it is what it is. So I had something going on with his friend. And because a lot of times, we have a lot of heterosexual people who feel like they have authority over our lives. The guy felt that he needed to know what I was busy with, who I was busy with.
Ukuthi
Ngitshola nobani, or even I wouldn't even say it was umjolo. Why am I having that person in my room? So they came and knocked and ended up peeping over, because I think back in their mind they knew that the guy was in my room. They peeped over the window, then they saw him, and then they asked him to come out. Akaphume. Why wenza njena mfethu? No, I know you are not gay wena. Why ungavumeli uyakushintshe? And then I became so mad. I ended up opening the door, and I said, "Come in, guys. Angithi, you want to see him? There he is. So what do you guys want? And I remember it was so embarrassing for both of us, to be found. Because he didn't want anyone to know what was happening between the two of us. And I respected that.
His privacy, you'd respect.
His privacy, yes. Do you understand?
So
bangena kwaba nedrama. And I remember saying to this guy, I said, and I'm going to play a recording. You'll tell me if you recognize the voice. Actually, the recording that I played for you, you recognize the voice that the person...
Play it for me, let me hear. Even if I recognize the voice, I won't say the name.
Yeah,
we don't have to say the names, sure.
And for me, it was so unfortunate that, and I said to the guy, I said, I'm going to address this with Sbu on Monday, that you've come into my space and invited transphobia into my space like this. And now I'm finding myself in a space where my privacy is compromised. Your friend's privacy is compromised. because you felt you have authority over my life, you know. And fast forward later, a lady comes and says, I tried and forced myself onto a guy. And it wasn't the case. I never forced myself on any guy. I never forced myself on that guy, and she knows. But anyway, I'll play the recording. We won't say what's his name again? Let me just say yes. You'll tell me if you you did
Play it on the
recognize
mic, yeah, so
you
that-
did recognize the voice.
So when about accuse something that you didn't do, Mina, I'm willing to have
Where's the mic?
our lawyers have a call, then I can give out my statement. But I'm not gonna give out my statement, sorry, in public. And I don't want my name mentioned in public. I'm willing to put on record with your lawyer if they call me and then I talk to them. But anything that has to do with public or my name being in public, then I don't want that and I'm not gonna stand for that. So let's find a solution, a better way that's gonna work for you and I, a way that doesn't involve the public. And then when you take up that with Zingle and this guy Tolani publicly, but I don't want my name publicly because I'm not that type of person, and I'm not fighting with you, you know. So please, let's find a solution and find a way to move forward. But you releasing statements with my name in it and my friend's name in it, that's not cool. Thank you. You let me know, yeah. Sharp.
So
I
I'm
can,
not sure if
I
you
can
cut-
recognize the voice. He's a good guy. Yeah, as far as I've known him, he's a good guy. What is it that you'd like for the public to know? And obviously, we won't mention any names.
I mean, as you heard, it's just that there is another a recording that is like longer.
Okay.
Where, and I asked him, I said, it's important for you to really say that I didn't do it because right now I've lost work, you know, and I think that's the unfortunate part that I've lost work. And there was something that I was launching on Thursday that was like massive, that was going to change my life even more. And I saw brands dropping me like this, like literally. But again, a lesson. But I think I'm glad that you recognize the voice. And of course, I'm going to even play even the other one, the longer one, where, because I think on this one, he did say that I didn't do it. You know, I did not do it. And it's so unfortunate that now the lady has come forward and said, I did something out of being malicious. But because also she knows Ugutsini, the guy can't come publicly and say she didn't do it because the guy does not want anyone to know what's happened between him and I. Do you understand? He doesn't want anyone to know. But she knows that, Sangit. So she's using that because she knows that society is very transphobic. So they're going to definitely attack me and make me a bad person. And she's thinking she's achieved whatever that she's trying to do. And it's so unfortunate. How are we going to go out there and believe people when they say they've went through this? When we have such people that are like waking up in the morning and think, let me just destroy. Let me just use this because I know she's not going to be able to protect herself. I know I'm going to have a lot of transphobic people, homophobic people coming into my army and supporting me and destroying her life. How are we going to supposed to carry on and live as human beings?
Sure.
And you know, I think also this proves exactly what I'm saying to you because no one is going to come forward right now. Even you can hear, he doesn't want his name mentioned. So no one is actually going to come into my defense because people are like, oh my gosh, my private life. Now they know that there is something that might have happened between me and YAYA or my friend. Do you understand? It's just so unfortunate. He's scared because he knows what society will label him as if he comes out.
Shame, man. And have they opened the case?
Who is going to open a case now because this didn't happen?
So this is just a
This is
public accusation.
Remember this.
And you're losing work because based on an accusation that is not proven.
Remember, I'm not being accused by a person who says YAYA did this to me. I'm being accused by a girl who says I did this to a guy in her presence. It's a third party coming out.
Yes, and this guy is supposed to also defend you and say this didn't happen
But
though.
he can't. Just like you can hear this one is saying, my friend and I can't. have our names mentioned. And I'm glad that you can recognize the voice and you know the person, And I'm even willing to give you my phone and you go through.
No, I don't have to.
No. And our chats and see, Uguti, how has our conversation been?
It's okay.
How has our conversation been to really prove, Uguti,
Just
I haven't done this. I didn't do it.
Have you consulted legal people? Like, we're
Of
living in a
course.
crazy era now where somebody can just throw in an accusation out there based on public opinion. You are losing money, but how do you correct it? If there isn't even a case opened.
But that's the thing, though. She
How do you
knows very
vindicate
well.
yourself?
She knows very well. She's a former journalist, right? So she knows, Uguti, the moment it's out there, it's going to destroy me. She knows that. Do you understand? And she knows that it's gonna take forever for courts to, to do what to clear my name, And in her mind, she's thinking, because she's trans, no one is going to be in her corner. No one is going to want to say it didn't happen, because she knows, because she's a transphobe, she thinks then everybody else under this earth is transphobic, is homophobic, and they're using exactly that. They are now saying, I said, oh, you guys, what's this? You are in my space because what's this? I'm a trans woman, and I'm thinking, of course, but you are in a space not because I was harassing somebody. You're in my space because you wanted to see what I was busy in my private space, busy with in my private space. And it happens with a lot of queer people where their spaces are compromised by heterosexuals, where people really feel the need that, oh my gosh, is that guy gay? Why is that guy with YAYA? Why is that guy with Tabo? Do you understand? It happens a lot. It's just that unfortunately, even people that knows the truth will not come forward and say, I know it didn't happen publicly.
How are you clearing your name, though?
No, of course, I've consulted legal action. My lawyers, of course, are dealing with it, but it's just unfortunate that I'm in a space where I'm losing work. But of course, I've told myself that, you know what, for me, this is really a minor setback. I have bigger things that I'm working on. I know my brand is even gonna grow bigger. Nobody could ever dim my lights. Nobody could ever cancel me. I know that for a fact, The only time I'd be cancelled if I've done something wrong. And then I'll accept it to say, okay, fine, guys, really, I've done really something wrong. I apologize. How do I rectify it? Because also I'm not for cancel culture, really. I'm really for correction culture. I believe that we need to correct people when they've done things wrong. But saying we must cancel people must suffer is really, really like inhuman. That is not humanity.
Sure. Ayisiphila kwesinye isikhathi manje ngo-2023 people can just throw in, just for the sake of public opinion, they'll know what they'll sway the public against you.
Absolutely.
And I know you're in a very interesting position because, as you're saying, people don't want to be, public out there because then they're associated with you and
Of
they're
course.
afraid of what comes with
Of course.
the stigma, the public stigma.
It's so unfortunate.
What are you busy with now? Maybe let's start with the Queer Comfort.
Queer Comfort.
QC, yeah.
Yeah. So, that's my really exciting baby that I launched last year. I'm wearing one of them.
Oh, one of your outfits.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes. So,
This is jeans, no?
yes, it's denim. Yeah,
Oh, it's denim. Sorry,
and then,
yeah.
it's denim. Then I printed my art. So I did
yeah.
an exhibition
Nice.
last year.
Yeah.
I did an exhibition last year in August. Titled "Layers of a Black Trans Woman," and it featured two other trans women, myself and the other two trans women. One of them, Lekonelo Machaba, who was on the top 30 Miss South Africa, and then the other one who was a reality TV star on the Wenginga Corner with Tolang. So that exhibition had images that were shot by Tera Dick and then illustrations by a Nigerian illustrator. And from then I took some of the art pieces that were illustrations to make these.
Oh, okay.
So
Then you
most of the prints are incorporated into that.
Yes.
I think basically mostly what I'm trying to do is really, there are a lot of trans women that really need hormone therapy, but they don't have access because there's a long waiting list. So, some of the proceeds from that, then goes to those that that needs that. But also there is something that I'm really ever since the accusations came about, I thought, okay, fine, yeah, there are other things that you've been banking, get into that. And I'm working on really going really big this August, like really big. Something that I know that, what, this just is Yaya without, it doesn't necessarily need the public, South African public approval, you know. Um, it's something that I'm doing because I know it's gonna be a success globally. Even if it's not received well here at home, it's okay. I've traveled in so many countries abroad and made sure that I have contacts and relationships. I've built like really strong relationships where a lot of people are buying to what Yaya is doing, and I thought maybe let me then it's time that I focus on that. So yeah.
And then do you have a website? How do people find the products?
No, we don't have a website yet. So there is an Instagram called it's queer underscore comfort.
Okay.
So every details how to order and everything it's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's queer underscore
Queer
comfort.
yes.
Oh, queer,
Queer
underscore
underscore
comfort.
comfort,
That's
yes.
QUEER underscore comfort.
Yes. If you struggling to find it, you can find Yaya RSA on my bio. There is that's sorry what's the handle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
on my
QC
bio,
handle.
yes.
The care comfort.
Yeah.
Apart from QC, what else are you busy with?
So it's basically that. So I was going to launch the event that I was mentioning to
Yeah.
you. Something that's really
And
for
the
me.
and the energy vampires came.
Yeah, but also they can't take it away
They're
because
making you strong though.
of course, absolutely. Absolutely, like very strong. I'm already such a strong human being, but I'm gonna be even stronger. And I was just thinking, I think this is really preparing me for spaces that I've been scared to be at because
Yeah.
it's even harsher there.
Yeah.
But which means I will survive those spaces.
Yeah.
And for me, even if I'm not able to do the event, I was telling a friend there's an agency that wants to buy, because I've sent proposals. So there was an agent that wanted to buy it with a lot of money from me. I can easily wake up in the morning and think, actually, guys, it's fine. Buy it. I take that money. I go live wherever I want to live. But I don't want to do it and then be seen as somebody who's running away or anything. Because I can't do that if I want to. But also at the same time, I'm like, my friend was saying, Utum was saying, yeah, this is your brainchild. For them to want to give you this much money, which means they know exactly what it is and what it's going to do. So as much as, of course, at the time, I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Why is this happening to me? But I'm like, yeah, you've went through so much and you are here and you're going to let this minor setback to really scare you? No, you cannot do that.
Are you still going to give us more reality TV?
If it's done right, of course. I think for me, really, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to make mockery of myself.
Okay.
I'm really specific about who I want Yaya to be. And Yaya, the Yaya that I want people to see, it's the real Yaya. Not the Yaya that need to entertain people at home because they have to laugh and say, "Umbonile kodwa sejayiva, umbonile esenzani." That's not me. And if people do that, I'm not against that. Those do that. I'm not for drama. There were many other shows that I've been approached to do. There was one that we were talking with my friend to say, I can't believe these people are calling me so many times wanting me to do this. And they basically want me to go on TV and say, yes, this is what I'm about, which is something that I'm not. I can't invite bad energies that is going to, in a year's time, work against me. Because whatever that I do and put on TV is going to live there forever. We now have, even if you do it on traditional television, unfortunately, that traditional TV is going to sell it to a streamer. So at age 40, it's still going to be there, There are a lot of things that I wish I did differently on becoming. But I'm here and I'm glad that also at the same time, it's not things that are damaging. It's just things that I'm like, I just wish, I toned down on what and that and that. But everything I do, I I learn. And I was saying to my friend, Mina, if I do reality, I'll have to be an associate a producer or an executive producer on that because I need to control the narrative, especially because I'm a trans woman. If I was heterosexual, it's easy for the trans person, sorry, for a heterosexual person to have a comeback. For a trans person, it's so difficult for you to pick yourself up after something has happened to you because a lot of people feel like they can say yes to you, and when they say no, it's done. And other people don't have the braveness that some of us have, to say, I'm going to carry on, I'm going to succeed. They don't have.
Would you like to have kids one day?
No.
Outstanding
I'm
guy.
not really interested in kids. My brother have 4, so I can have one of his.
Okay.
But I mean, if I meet somebody who has kids, I'd love for us to grow the kids together. I think I'll make such a great mom.
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe as we are getting to the end of the interview, I've been hearing some people out there in the public saying, this is in America.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything in South Africa. Uguti, the trans community is going to schools and educating much younger people about acceptance and knowledge about an education around, the trans community itself. I'd like to know your opinions as far as that's concerned. Or has that started in South Africa? Is it something that you would support? Because then I'd hear other people saying, that's fine, but I wouldn't want my kids having to be taught that type of an education at a very, very early age when they're still young.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it's a tricky one because I think we live in now a society that's where everybody has an opinion. And when I hear your opinion and I didn't look at it like that, and I am convinced that you are right, I'm probably going to take that. And I don't think whatever, like when anyone is going to school to educate people about transness or about the existence of trans people or about acceptance, as you spoke about, it's like how people are saying, "Kutsi, we are influencing people to say, be no," and I think that's how most people have drove the narrative to say this is happening so that it can influence people. No, I think really mostly it comes from how society has spread so much hate towards towards what's this
The trans
the
community.
trans community. It's just like how we grew up and we learned of Uyan van Riebeeck, coming to South Africa, and what's then happened at the time, after Afigil. So it's basically a reflection of saying, you as a young child, if you are seeing a trans person, that person exists because they have a right to. You don't have the power. You shouldn't feel like you need to have a power to dictate this is what they should do, this is what they shouldn't do. Because we've seen how much homophobia and transphobia at school happens. I don't think anyone could ever influence anyone to be a certain gender identity or sexuality. I really don't think so, because I always say, if that's the case, I would have then been influenced to be heterosexual, because I grew up in a space where there was really no one that was trans at home or at school. There was no one that I knew that was, so where does then my influence come from? Where does the influence of anyone that comes from a space where it was just them, who are queer? So I'm really, really not for the opinion that people like push, or the narrative that people push to say we're going to influence. But also I think it's important that when it happens at school, there is really, really a clear and a specific direction to say why we are here.
But abazali who are saying these kids are still small. This is primary school, but they understand when people are older. But what they're saying is these kids are still developing, and they feel that might influence, that type of education might influence young people to see it.
I think then parents need to fix their homes.
I hear you.
It's so important then parents fix their homes, because really actually these kids come with hate because of the homes they come from most of the time. When they are watching a TV, they see a queer character on TV. Oh, shall do you understand? Then of course the child is gonna take that.
What's the right word? Nesizulu?
Such
Because I've heard inkonkoni. What does that mean?
It's how you I think also the narrative
Okay.
of how you are
So
saying
let me
something.
ask this one. Inkonkoni, is that correct or is that wrong?
I wouldn't necessarily speak on that because
Okay.
as much as I studied isiZulu,
Yes.
I've never it was never my, what do you say? It was never my my focus.
I understand.
I grew up without really even knowing that until I grew older.
Okay.
But I think even if it's used, I think any other terms that is used, how is very important, because I think most of the time I might be wrong. I don't want to get attacked, nkulunkulu wami. A how, because I mean, umuntu methi hale sasitabane lesiyana,
Is taban, is that the wrong word?
I would believe,
Okay.
it is.
That's why
this
I
is
would
why
want to know
I think
inkonkoni is
this is
taban.
why I really think it's important for people to even refrain from even using those terms. How about you use somebody's name?
Okay, I hear you.
Because you know the person's name. And also if you're seeing that queer character on TV, they've got a character name, Angit. So you could address them by that name that you know. So most of the time we get there because of the hate. I don't think if there was hate attached to it and it was used, it would have been a problem.
I hear you.
So it's now a problem because there is always hate attached to it.
I understand. But for the educational purposes out there for younger people, how do you say LGBTQI or community or trans community in Gesizulu? That's how I wanted to know the meanings of those names. Inkonkoni or is
That's tricky.
And are those words wrong? They mustn't use them.
That's tricky for me because really I come from a Zulu family and we've never had to use that at home.
Okay.
We've never had to use the term. They call me by my name. They call my friends by my name. Sorry, by their names. They've never felt the need to say, they've never had to. They listen to Selby literally every day. But when they speak about Selby, they say Selby's name.
I hear you.
So I think it's going back to saying let's address people by their names. Because asithi uTJ Sibulo nomnyama. Asithi umuntu omnyama sithi uTJ Sibulo, So we don't have to.
Yeah. What I find interesting also is like, I don't want to be attacked. You say that. You say, I don't want to be attacked. But at the same time, you're a strong person. I can imagine how much hate or attacks you've had to go through all these years.
Definitely. Like, I went to a certain podcast. I think, of course, people already, they just waited for me to say something that was going to give them a right to feel like I was wrong.
Oh, but merely one mistake.
So I said people must Google something. Yo! She went there so that she can educate us, but the only thing that she gave us is Google. I'm thinking to myself, out of everything that I really said, but also I'm like, you actually can. If you have access to the podcast to watch that and listen to it, which means you have access to Google, so you can do that.
Yeah.
Why do you wait for me to really educate you? Because I feel like you have the means to do it.
Yeah.
So people really always want to find a way of how they can make you feel small and make you believe that they are better than you. And unfortunately, it doesn't work with me because I don't think there is anyone that is going to say I'm better than you or you are small,
Yeah.
because
So
I'm not that.
what I wanted to say is we get dragged. Yeah. Yo.
Listen.
Thina sesizesijoyina. Thina, we come from the days of
I know,
Ushwashi.
shame, yes, right?
So we've got a thick skin, yes. I don't even know what happened, but what I like about people, they know what this platform is a positive platform.
Yes.
It's about education. It's about inspiration, motivation.
Absolutely,
You know?
absolutely.
So, but there's some people who also sometimes take clips and they
Of
quote them
course.
out of context. Hey, and then I see Tuba, I see
Of
Tuba.
course.
But I want to say, that's such is life, especially young people out there. When you're going to go through this life thing, you're going to have to get used to being hated on, people being jealous of you, being called names, being dragged.
Yeah.
Nobody is special here. And I always say, "Akusigama makhola." This is kusemhlabeni, and
Yes.
sadly, or fortunately or unfortunately, those are some of the things we'll have to go through. And I guess it's up to how you take it. They make me strong, and anginandaba nazo ezinye is negative uma directed towards me. You know what I mean?
You can't. I remember, yes, guys. So Phil posted something about an influencer.
Film pillar.
Yes.
Yeah.
About an influencer.
Phil, when are you coming to the podcast, by the way? I'm looking forward to
And-
that one. Chris Axel, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the podcast as well. Advocate Periru, I'm also looking forward to seeing you on the podcast as well. Musa Kaula, I wanna have a conversation with all of you guys.
And you know, it's so funny. I'm not for
And
what
I'm a Pepandab, I don't know who runs it.
I'm not for what Musa always sometimes say, because I think he's such a very intelligent individual. It's just unfortunate that he finds himself having to deliver the news how he delivers them the way he does, and which is not really so favorable to many of us or many people. And because I've listened to some of the things that he would say, and I'm like, this person is so intelligent. I just wish that there was another way of, but I'm like, again, he is what pop culture outside of South Africa is, where celebrity culture need to always really be always detested. He really is, he tests people. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I wish you didn't say it like that.
I guess that's what people like about him. Musa Kaula, we're looking forward to having you here, by the way.
So, I was still saying, so Phil posted something about, an influencer, and nothing negative, but because then people then on Twitter took it upon themselves to just like hate on the person, then it became his problem. Ukuthi, yeah, you knew very what you're trying to do, but no.
Like, don't shoot the messenger.
So unfortunately, my point was, it might be great to you what you do, but it's not going to be great to the next person that is watching. This is why we find a lot of talented people on television, on radio, being attacked every day, being told that you are not talented. How did this person get this opportunity? Because the other person does not see what the other person see. How the person employs you and wanting you to do this specific TV show, and you get the ratings. Not everybody who's watching thinks you are great. And it's really up to you to really believe in yourself and say, I'm great, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to listen to the next person saying I'm not good enough. Because the moment you do that, that's when, unfortunately, you're going to sink. You need to be the first person to believe in yourself and say, I'm doing this because I'm great and I believe in myself. I got this opportunity because I deserve it. Then I'm going to do it. Unless you didn't deserve it, unless you got it unlawfully, unless you got it when you were not supposed to, you start thinking like that. But if you know that you are talented, you're meant to do it, why are you feeling otherwise? If you know you were on that red carpet, you looked great, it doesn't matter what the comments on Twitter saying. Some of those people that are bashing your David Tlale dress don't even have a David Tlale dress. Do you understand? Chances are of even them getting into a David Tlale studio to get a t-shirt are like non-existent. You've had that opportunity to do it. So why are you bothered by the people who don't have when you have?
I get you.
You
Yes.
have it. Guys, you have it. It's such a privilege and it's such a big opportunity to be in a space where you are. Because not everybody's going. Guys, we can have the opportunity, all of us, but it's not all the opportunities that are going to succeed. you can have all the podcast, but you are Sbu because you are chosen to be DJ Sbu.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, you are meant to be that person. So why am I stressed by somebody that I don't even know, that I've never met? I don't know what they do. No.
YAYA MAVUNDLA, multi-award winning transgender activist, media personality, recipient of multiple awards, reality star, businesswoman, owner and founder of QC. Go check it out on social media, Care_Comfort. And as we wrap it up, she's been here on the Hustlers Corner. We've had a great conversation. Before we wrap it up, by the way, is there anything that we're forgetting? Anything you'd like to promote? Maybe you'd like for them to know?
I think my friend and my person that I love so much, Zanele Moholi, has like a really such an amazing exhibition in Cape Town at Southern Guild, called Zanele Moholi. So they have like really amazing out of this world sculptures and Somnyama Ngonyama, a prince, and they have like a lot of exhibitions around the world currently happening. And please check it out when you get an opportunity to. And actually, just here at Redison Red,
Yeah.
we also have like a lot of Somnyama Ngonyama show there. So
Okay.
check that out.
And I just found out this morning I haven't been following you on Instagram. Starting from now,
Oh,
I'll be following
I
your work.
really thought
Now
I
you
was.
don't follow me, but
My
now
God, I think I was
no, I'm
following you
saying
on
so
Twitter.
too.
Actually, I thought I was following you on Twitter.
When I
actually,
follow you
yeah.
also on Twitter.
Oh yes,
but
I
think,
also do follow you on
I
Twitter.
think I started following you during the lockdown on Twitter.
Yes.
No, I'm saying I found out this morning we both don't follow each
Oh,
other
yeah,
on
on
Instagram.
Instagram. Oh, yes,
But
yeah.
I'm sure after this interview is going to start.
Of course, yes. Now, actually,
Yeah,
I'm there.
makukhanye,
Yes.
and may everything you touch iphumelele ngicela uqhubeke ube strong.
Thank you.
Bazokudraga vele, bazokhuluma
course.
bazokhuluma. Nawuzazi ukuthi wena uhleli kuNkulunkulu wakho nokuthi uyazazi wena ukuthi ubani. Ngicela ukuthi uqhubeke ube ilento ubulebelu uyiyo ekwenze ukuthi uzohlala la. We want you now to go sit in Paris, Europe,
Absolutely.
Nigeria,
Absolutely,
Ghana,
everywhere.
Zimbabwe, LA, Miami, wherever you want to be. That I
And
think,
I receive, and it's gonna
yeah,
happen.
it's gonna happen. I
It's
mean,
gonna
you're an
happen.
incredible person.
Ngiyabonga.
Yeah, ngicela ukuthi kukhanye mhlambe in your last words, ngicela ungikhuthazela abanye abaseza abancane out there, our young hustlers, ubabheke uxoxe nabo.
I think, first thing, choose yourself always. There is nothing as important as choosing yourselves. Follow your dreams, block the noise. Never really allow society to define you, who you are, what you should do, and how you should do it. Because you're the one that have a dream. You're the one that knows what to do. But I think most importantly, be realistic. There is nothing being so great as being realistic. If you are not realistic about what you want to do, and I know this is correct. Foster. Sometimes don't force what you know. I'm not saying what you hear in the noise, because sometimes people would say no, drop it, yekele, ungayenzi. And now you are being influenced. I mean, most of my friends know whatever that I do, I'm not influenced by anyone. I would ask you for an opinion, but chances are I already know what I want to know. I just want to see if you are thinking like me. And I'm so glad that most of the people that are in my life would always think the way I think, and they would always give me what I've already decided, because I've decided to have people in my corner that wishes well for me, that see my greatness. And even though I have some of the people in my life that don't wish well for me, that's disguised as friends, but I never really focus on that. I still love them as friends, but I always choose me. I always decide this is what YAYA wants to do, and I will keep at that.
Thank you.
Ngiyabonga.
Great to officially meet you.
Thank you.
Ngiyabonga.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you soon. So let's go and achieve more. And then in a
Absolutely.
couple of months' time, let's catch up again.
I love that.
Ngiyabonga.
Thank you so much.
YAYA_RSA, that's the social media, and that is on all platforms.
Yeah,
huh?
just YAYA RSA. Just YAYA RSA.
Yeah, RSA, sorry,
Yes,
yeah.
no, it's cool,
But
yeah.
then the brand is
It's
queer_comfort.
Comfort, yes.
Thank you. I'll
absolutely.
see you guys on the next video.
Thank you.